Hi, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be doing a real quick one, just a quick one on how to make a whole bunch of stuff fall down and bounce around. So it's kind of a physics thing, but it's a weird physics thing. First, I'm going to pull up this cube, and here's what I want to do. I'm going to add a plane, scale it up nice and big, and I want to make this cube drop a whole bunch of cubes onto the plane and have them bounce around and stuff. So first I need to make a whole bunch of cubes, and there's different ways of doing that. One way, I think Andrew Price suggests, use the array modifier and jump through a whole lot of hoops to get it done. I don't do that. Here's how I do it. I'm going to take this cube, scale it up. Size of this cube does not matter. Then I'm going to add another cube, which I'm going to push all the way down here out of the frame because I don't have to see it. Now this cube, I'm going to add, I've already added a particle thing to it, okay? And let me go to, I just hit the Z key, go to wireframe because I want to be able to see everything that's going on. Now notice this little point up here, that's the particle. So far, there's one particle right here. I want all the particles to be there at once, so I'm going to change the start and end frames over here. See on the, let me show you. On the right hand column, start, end. That's when the particles start appearing on frame 1, finish appearing on frame 2. 1,000 particles, it says up the top, that's how many will appear. So they're going to appear spread out over those frames. They're going to live for 50 frames. You see that right here. So I want to change all that. So I'm going to change them to all appear at 1. So that means right now that is 1,000 particles. That's what it says it is. I'm going to make the lifetime longer, although as you're going to see for what I'm doing it doesn't matter because I'm not even using the particles. I'm just using the particles as a modeling tool. Now, if you notice as I turn this, you can see that these particles are all on the surface of the cube. If I hit volume, now they're spread throughout the middle of the cube. Great. But that's not what we want. What I want is them to be in nice rows and columns. So I hit grid, and now we have that. Okay? And if you look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows across, 10 down, 10 going toward the back. 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. That's 1,000. That's a little much. So I'm going to change this right here where it says resolution is 10. If I change that to 4, then there's 4 rows, 4 columns, and 4 layers or depths or whatever you want to call them. Okay, so 4 times 4 is 16 times 4 is 64. So that's 64 right there. If we change this to 5, we have 125 objects. If we change this to 6, we have whatever the heck that is. I can't remember what 6 cubed is offhand. I know it if I think of it. Give me a second while I consult my calculator. It is 216. I knew it was 200 something. I just couldn't remember the exact number. Okay, so that's 216 objects. If we want to go to 7, I want to get a nice number because I want a lot of them so you can see a lot of stuff going on, but I don't want too many. So let's see what 7 is. So anyway, there's the idea. So we've got this array of all these cubes. Oh, sorry, not cubes. Array of all these points in space arranged in this nice cubic pattern. Now we want to make them all to be shapes. Remember, I have a cube down here, this one, and I should name that. So let me name that. I'm going to call it Weasel. Why am I calling it Weasel? because there's nothing else here called weasel. It makes it real easy to find everything out. Now, I wouldn't recommend naming your things completely random words. I do that all the time, and then later on when I have big projects, I go through it and go, what the hell was I thinking when I did this? All right, I'll come back to this. Now I come down here, and I want to choose from this menu here, Object. Then the object I'm choosing is Weasel. Now if we look over here, you see that now all those points are cubes. They're all copies of Weasel. And they're all the wrong size. I don't want them to be tiny. I want them to be almost touching each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this size to 1. Now what that means is there's no multiplying, well there is, it's multiplied by 1, but there's no factor changing the size of 1. So these duplicates are going to be the exact same size as my original shape. My original shape is Weasel down here. Now I'm going to select Weasel, go into Edit mode, and then, remember I'm still editing Weasel, but I'm looking at this, this collection of all these shapes. And I'm going to hit S, and that lets me resize the original cube so all the duplicates resize as well. And I'm just arranging this until they're all big enough to be near, but not touching each other. Like that. Okay, that's what we got. Now if I were to render that, I get what looks like a solid cube. And the reason for that is because, I'm still in edit mode. The reason for that is because down here in render, the emitter's turned on. In other words, the cube that the particle system is attached to is being shown. If I turn that off, now you can see I have this array of cubes. You can't tell there's ones inside there, but we know there are. So, next step is I want to drop these things, make them bounce all over the place. How do I accomplish this miracle? Well, first, this is just a, what do you call it, issue? I just have to move this out a bit because the lighting is just not going to work really well from there. And while I'm here, I might as well turn on ambient occlusion. And I do it at 0.2 because I always do it at 0.2 unless I have some reason not to. And this gives us just a better looking thing. I also want to turn off that gray background because I just hate it. Yes, I could make it blue, I could make it sky, but I'm just going to make it black. Now this is what we have. Nice. Here's the thing. We've got all these cubes, but notice here, let's see if I select come back. I can't select them because we don't really have separate cubes. We have particles. And if I try to animate them using the particle system, okay, they fall down. That seems promising, but you'll see the problem in a moment. I'm going to pick the plane. I'm going to make the plane a collision object. Watch what happens. See how they all kind of bounce straight up and down and phase through each other like ghost cubes? Okay, let me make you see that. Isn't that cool? But obviously, that's not what we want. The particle physics can't do what we want. We have to change those cubes into actual objects. So that's coming right now. So first of all, let me stop that animation, get back to frame 1. And how do we do this? Well, we've got the cube selected. Here's where things get fun. So we go to modifiers and look, there's a modifier on this because a particle system is a modifier. So if I convert this, I hit convert. Now, these cubes are real. Wasn't that fun, kids? Now let me put that back. Now I can grab the big cube and delete it. Don't need it anymore. Got this. This one down here is unrelated to these now. I mean, it is related. It does have some data attached, but it doesn't matter. So here's the next step. We want to get this cube to fall down and bounce around on this thing. So I'm going to pick one. And I'm going to add physics to it. Over on the left-hand side, about fifth down, there's a tab that says physics. I'm going to hit add active, like that. And then I'm going to hit the Z and see what it does. Oh, sorry. Z is not what I meant. Put it back. It's going to be, it's Alt A, right? It falls right through the thing. Why is that? Because the collision we set for the plane over here has nothing to do with the physics. So we just get rid of that. And instead, grab the plane and go over here and add passive. Okay, that gives us, now that's in the physics system. So, let me get back to frame nothing, 0, or what, frame 1, and go. You'll see it fall down and boom, there, bounce. Well, kind of rolls. That's not bad, that's not bad. Let it do it again. It doesn't have to be this long. Let's change this to 100. Boom. It's acting just a tiny bit funny. I'm not overly happy with that. So let's come over to the rigid body panel and change it to box. That's better. And that's it. Nothing else really needs to be changed. Now what we want is we want all those cubes to do that, not just that one. So how do we do that? Well, we get down here so that nothing's in the way. Hit B. I'm going to select all these cubes. You'll notice that now they're all orange, but the green one is still green. That's because the green one is the active one. So now we go to the physics thing again. Where is it? See, this one, this middle tab here says copy from active. That means whatever physics properties we set on the active object are going to be copied to all these other objects that are now selected. So we do this. You'll see in a moment they'll all go green. Voila. Now that those physics are on everything, so if we hit A, Alt A, we can see the animation, which looks like this. Huh? Pretty snazzy, huh? Now for more fun, because who doesn't want more fun? I hit escape, and I'm just going to grab this thing, since they're all selected anyway, and just move it a little higher so they fall farther. See what that looks like. And that's what most of my animations look like. You see, this way of doing it, where you make a particle system and then convert it to a real thing, puts the centers of gravity in all the cubes automatically. You don't have to go through some weird key stroke thing to get them all to be where they belong. So there you go. So let's stop it. Let's stop it at some frame and render it. See how that looks. And there it is. In fact, now let me. Now we're going to throw in a "you've got to be freaking kidding me" moment. Ready? You're going to like this. First, let me back up the camera just a bit. Good, good, good. Give it another quick render. Hallelujah, that's beautiful. And now I'm going to change, go to my original cube. What are you doing? You'll see, you'll see. Go to my original cube and pull out the cobweb. That's the upper right hand corner. Gives me obviously an extra window. I want to change this to node editor. Make sure my cube is selected, which it is, and we're going to go to new shader. Yes, new, use nodes. Now we've got this, and hit new, and now if I render it again, everything's exactly the same, but now we're using nodes for this, so I can change this to say some kind of pink, render it. Now they're all pink. You go, my God, you didn't even touch these. They're not even particles anymore, and yet somehow, that's what I told you. There's still data connecting that original one to this, which means even though these are not particles, I can do this trick. This is so cool. I'm going to grab object info, put it up here. I'm going to take the random and stick it in there. That gives me this, where they're all different shades of black and stuff. And then for more fun, I'm going to grab the converter color ramp, put it right here, add a bunch of things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's use 6, because that's how many primary and secondary colors there are. And I'm going to change this view over here to rendered. Where do I do that? Oh, this isn't the view. Okay, this is the view. I'm going to change this to rendered just so you can see what I'm doing happening as I do it. Okay, that's what we have right now. Now I'm going to go here. I'm going to make this one red. Usually I don't use colors that saturated and pure, but whatever. Red, that doesn't look very red. That's redder. Then over here, make this one green. And go to the next one. I'm just doing primaries in case you haven't figured it out. In fact, I could do this with the sliders easier. Okay. Now this one we want to have red and green, which is yellow, kids. Put this down. There we go. And then this one, we're going to go green. Oh, my bad. Green and blue, which is cyan, in case you didn't know that. Then the last one is going to be red. Oh, again, not going for the sliders. It's all right. Red and red and blue is magenta. Bring that up. And now we've got one of all the important colors, right? But they're all mushy and fading into each other. So we come up here, we change this to constant. Bam! Now we have perfect colored weasels. Exactly the way we want them. And we can adjust this to get the ratio that we want. I don't happen to like yellow, so I'm going to keep yellows to a minimum. And there it is. Now, I'm going to render an animation. And there it is, rendering the animation. Now, I didn't do it on this video, but when you do this kind of thing, I could have put modifiers on those cubes. Oh, and you also notice they're kind of squishing into each other in an unrealistic way. You fix that. In fact, here, while that's rendering, watch over here. In the Scene tab, which is the, let me get this over, which is the third one in. Gravity, you could change the gravity. Rigid body world, this is where you can change how this thing acts. And steps per solve, this is set to 60, and solver iterations is set to 10. If you increase these numbers, you increase the accuracy of the simulation. Also increase the time it takes to calculate it. And if I wanted to, normally what I would do is I would bake the simulation before I did a rendering of it. It speeds things up. But in this case, it doesn't matter. So there we go. That's that. And now, if I hit, I believe it's F11. There it is. So I hope this was useful to you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I answer everything. And that's it. Have a good one.